Welcome to another video on the European Super League, or as they're trying to just brand it, the Super League. That's very interesting in itself, the fact that they don't want to call it the European Super League. The fact they're calling it just the Super League, to me, suggests that long term there is potential with this, that they want to make it a global competition, bring South American, Asian clubs into it, and this isn't about just bringing European fans in. It's about the global marketplace, fans in India, China, untapped markets that they want to make a lot more money from. This video, we're going to go about 10 facts about the Super League that we know already. Right now, there are a lot of unknowns. Uefa, FIFA, Premier League, La Liga. There's a lot of threats from them saying type of action they're going to take about the founding clubs and players of these clubs if they take part in the Super League. The Super League have said quite a bit of information about theirs, but there's still more that we need to find out. But this video, I'm going to talk about 10 facts that we know, as of now, are definite. First, the breakaway Super League that we know of right now, the president of it will be Florentino Perez. Quite a controversial figure at times in football. He is the famous chairman of Real Madrid who headed up the Galacticos era to do with lots of money spent. The two vice presidents are going to be Joel Glazer, who's one of the owners of Manchester United. From what I've been gathering, I've tried to do lots of research before this video, read lots of articles, find out lots of information. Man U and Real Madrid are the ringleaders, like the two main clubs who've really pushed for the Super League. And then Andrea Agnelli, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but the chairman of Juventus, he's also going to be a vice president. We'll get to him later on. An interesting quote today. I mean, the second fact that I'm going to say is that this is all about money. And I don't think, I mean, you could argue that's not a fact, but I don't think anyone could really, truly argue with this. One of the things that I've seen today be said is that, and this is a quote that I've seen from numerous places, was that a board of director member of one of the big six English clubs said, our first goal and priority is to make money and make more money for our clubs. It's a secondary concern, the good of the game. As a football fan who's passionate about football, it hurts to hear that. But let's be honest, we already knew that's what these clubs thought. We just didn't think they'd go this far or so soon, I guess. Number 3, Benfica, Celtic, Feyenoord, Ajax, Notts Forest, Aston Villa, Hamburg, Steaua Bucharest, Porto, PSV, Red Star Belgrade, Marseille and Dortmund between them have won 19 European Cups. Arsenal, Atletico, Man City and Spurs have won 0. So 1/3 of the 12 founding members of the Super League haven't even won a European Cup. But they think they have some God-given right to be in the highest level of European football every year just because they've got more money than other teams. Number 4. Again, this is one you could say is maybe not necessarily a fact, but I think most people would agree with this. Clubs don't even want their players playing international football anyway. Owners of these clubs make crazy investments in players. Kevin De Bruyne just signed a new contract for Manchester City worth 400 grand a week. That contract suddenly becomes worth a lot less to Man City if Kevin De Bruyne goes away on international duty for Belgium against Andorra and does his cruciate ligaments. I'm not saying players don't want to play for their international sides, but clubs really don't care for international football. The big clubs often encourage their players to pull out if they've got any slight fitness concerns or they've got big games coming up. They'll often give instructions to the international teams about whether their players can play a certain amount of minutes. I don't think it's any coincidence that very often, especially I've noticed at England, the best teams in England are the ones whose most of their players get called up, even if they're playing worse than better players at lower teams. A big reason, I think, is because they have relationships with England, because often Man U, Man City, Liverpool, teams like this are going to produce the best English players because they can afford the best. Probably tell them, pick our players, but when you pick them, you have to pick them in the way we want. Don't play them for this game. Give them less minutes. Clubs don't want their players playing international football anyway. So for the clubs, the chance of their players getting banned from international football, they won't care. For the players, some probably won't care. Some will. Some it'll mean a lot to them. I can't speak for each player, but you can see with some players they pull out of international duty regularly. They have a slight niggle. They don't turn up. They only turn up for the tournaments. Some clearly don't care already. And If they're being offered double, triple the wages to play in a team who are in the Super League, that's going to turn a few heads. 5. We have 12 founding clubs right now in the Super League. From the Premier League, we've got Spurs, Arsenal, Man U, Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. That's half the founding members already. Then we've got Barca, Real, and Atletico from Spain. And then we have Inter and AC Milan, plus Juventus from Italy. That's our 12 clubs. They've said there's 3 more that they're still deciding on, so there are 15 members clubs. Then the format's going to be that they're going to have qualifying for 5 different clubs each year, and there'll be 2 groups of 10. Then they go into quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. I think there's still some like icing on the cake that needs to be done as they finalise that. But yeah, those are the founding members right now. Number 6, UEFA, FIFA, high-up people in these organisations have come out saying they want to ban the clubs and ban any players from their competitions who take part in the Super League. Obviously, UEFA and FIFA are far from angels in this. I've seen a lot of people criticising UEFA and FIFA, and rightfully so, for how they've been in the past. But what I would say is there's a difference where UEFA and FIFA have been in the past and their corruption with what's going on right now with these breakaway clubs. FIFA and UEFA are all about making money. We already know this. Sepp Blatter, who was president for a long time, took obviously crazy amounts of backhand payments and bribes and things to set things up. It's all people are praising Paris Saint-Germain for not being a part of this. Paris Saint-Germain are basically owned by a Qatari royal family. Of course they're not going to go and take part in this. They're getting a World Cup that was given to them wrongfully by FIFA. They probably bribed and paid backhand payments for that. Of course PSG are not going to risk the World Cup that's taking place in Qatar in a year's time by taking part in this league. Because we basically, Qatar own PSG. And whilst Qatar own PSG, they're not going to do anything to risk pissing FIFA off before this. So I don't think PSG deserve the credit for that. Will the clubs actually get banned from the domestic leagues? That's all up in the air. I don't think they will. But I don't see how they can coincide together, which we'll get to on a later point. Lawyers are going to make a lot of money out of this, though. We know that for sure. Number 7. For me, it is a fact. It is a betrayal from these top clubs to the beautiful game of football. Andrea Agnelli, the Juventus chairman, has quit his role now. But as of 2 days ago, he was the head of the European Club Association, ECA. That is supposed to look after all European clubs. There's like 250 who are part of it. Is a league with no relegation for 15 teams that makes them earn way more money and other teams aren't really allowed into it. Is that good for European clubs? No. So he was running a job, running an organisation at the head of it, where he was supposed to be looking out for all the other European clubs, whilst behind the scenes, he was one of the heads, he's going to be the vice president, setting up a breakaway league, basically to screw over all the other clubs. Honestly, some of this shit is like Game of Thrones football edition. It's crazy what is going on. And I can't imagine how hurt and upset some people in football who like their lives are dedicated to it and staff at these clubs are feeling right now. But for me, honestly, it is a complete betrayal of football integrity, value, all these types of things, and the football pyramid. Number 8. For now, German clubs are refusing to be a part of it. For now, I say, because who knows, heads might be turned. They might be thinking it's not going to go ahead and they don't want to be seen as being a part of it. German clubs, though, have to be at least 51% fan-owned. That is a rule in Germany to take part in the league. And fans generally aren't going to be very happy with this type of system because fans want a fair system in football. So for now, we've not got any German clubs taking part. Number 9. The money that's being held to basically allow this to run is being backed by an investment bank, JP Morgan. JP Morgan, one of the world's biggest banks. Guess who used to work for him? Current chief executive, Man United, Ed Woodward. He worked for them. Then he got the Glazers in at United. Now he's the chief exec. He'll be one of the main people who's worked with JP Morgan to try and get this running. Why are investment bank working on a major football breaker league tournament? Because there's a lot of money in it for them. It's probably quite a safe investment for them if it goes ahead, that they can make an absolute crazy amount of money back. And this is where football's got to now, the beautiful game. Over 150 years ago, it was starting to be run by working men, founded by the people. Now it's investment banks and billionaire owners at these clubs. It's crazy. And the last point, probably the main one that I really want to get across, the last fact, is the European Super League, or the Super League, it cannot fairly coincide with the current way we have football. I've seen people comment saying, oh, what's the issue? They still want to take part in the domestic league. Well, one, of course they want to take part in the domestic league, because the domestic league's just more money for them. Why wouldn't they want to take part in it? Two, how can they take part in this and the league still be the same? If they're already auto-qualified to the Super League and there's no real way for other teams to get into it, then how on earth can you have a league system where there's nothing to play for at all of the top division? What is there to play for if there's no European football? And if we say, oh, well, the top six have it, and then the next four clubs in England who finish after them, they get Champions League underneath this, then it's just pointless. It's not the same. And then third, how can you have these six teams in England and then the ones in Italy, Spain, all that, earning £350 million a year more from the Super League? That's the number that's been quoted. How can they be earning that much more and compete in these leagues? It's just such a disparity in money. Already there's a big disparity in money between these clubs. How can the leagues run fairly? I think there's a lot more videos I could do about this, and as someone who cares a lot about football, I think I will be doing more. If there's any ideas, you've got any aspect, angle you want me to talk about this, please let me know. Yesterday's video got a lot of support on it. I really do appreciate that when I'm doing a video a bit different to FIFA related ones. Appreciate you guys as always. Have a spicy one. And yeah, honestly, I'm worried about where this is going to go, but it is very interesting.